And now, baby.
No credit, no problem. No cash, no problem. No radio, problem. Love 97 FM, the Bahamas hits and oldies station.
Maritime Matters is brought to you live by Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed and inspected?
Maritime also protects our seas and borders by way of our local Bahamas Defense Force.
It is very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed.
Maritime Matters.
Pleasant good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. You, as always, are a valued listening audience. So welcome one. Welcome to Maritime Matters. I am your host, Captain Glenn Bain. Our sponsors for tonight's show, One-on-One Pharmacy. They're also Island Care Pharmacy in Freeport. In Nassau, you got One-on-One Pharmacy, and Freeport is Island Care Pharmacy. All same one company. Okay? For all your medication needs, check out One-on-One Pharmacy and Island Care Pharmacy. That is my little cousin Shantia McBride and a lovely team. They will make sure, fill your prescription at the store, or you could either send your refills via the online site, oneononepharmacy.com. It's all one word lowercase, oneononepharmacy.com. Once you send in your refill online, you'll be able to ensure that when you get to the store, your goods will be ready for pickup. All you got to do is pass over that little thing and it's straight. And if you feel froggy, just let them know Maritime Matters sent you. Everything is. Secondly, we're sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. Well, we know the deal with that. That's us. We provide a full slate of ISPS maritime security services. Port security, facility, assessment, plan, audit, training, consultancy, you name it, we do it. Anything under port security, ISPS, maritime security. That is Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited. We are your local RSOs, and we can do it for you. We also sponsored jointly by the GBI pilots and the Bimini pilots. These are a contingent of independent marine pilots that are making themselves available to provide marine pilotage to any and all ships outside of the port area, Nassau or Freeport. That means any family island and or private island in the Bahamas. So please feel free. Call on GBI pilots or Bimini pilots for all your marine pilot needs. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we shall engage discussions on a litany of local and international maritime challenges, mainly international. You know, we've been getting away from international now for quite some time, eh? So we're going to catch up with some international stuff tonight, hopefully. And topics shall include, therefore, well, we got the RBDF sending a team of troops to the great country of Jamaica. And why would they be going to Jamaica? We had this discussion a couple times now, eh? They're going to Jamaica because we are preparing to send some of our RBDF troops to do peacekeeping duties in Haiti. As you know, our Haitian brothers and sisters, they are going through a lot of stress and turmoil and unrest. And I mean, it's just a dangerous place to be right now. And there's no real order. There's some semblance of order, but it's no real order like the country should be running or like it was running about two or 3 years ago, eh? So the world the entire world by way of the United Nations have decided that we're going to address this matter. And it all started with this country named Kenya. Kenya decided Haitians, like Bahamians and everybody else, are their brothers and sisters, just like they are our brothers and sisters. And Kenya decided this has been going on for a while. Why should this country continue to suffer in this way? Let's get a team together and assist in getting that country stabilized again. Albeit not from a financial perspective, but certainly from an administrative perspective. And in doing that, Kenya approached the United Nations to say, we want to send about 1,000 personnel from our police force to provide policing in Haiti. And of course, as always, there will be some resistance, eh? So, the United Nations granted the authority for Kenya to go ahead and lead a multinational grouping in efforts to move into Haiti and provide peacekeeping duties. Of course, Kenya wanted to be there first. Based on information I'm now receiving, they wanted to go first and they wanted to stabilize things before the additional troops from all the other countries come in to maintain semblance by way of peacekeeping responsibilities and duties. Now, you would all know that, of course, this is not the first time that the Bahamas decided, because our government decided, look, if Kenya's going to do this, we got regional countries like Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and all the rest of them wanting to be a part of this. We should also be a part of this. And come, let's think about it. We are the country, we out of all the other countries, we are the ones, or the one, that is most impacted by the unrest and instability in Haiti. Because regionally, I think it's safe to say that outside of the U.S., we get perhaps over 90% of the Haitians that flee Haiti because of the disturbance on a day-to-day basis going on in Haiti, and because of the lack of opportunities for our Haitian brothers and sisters to attain employment that can help them to maintain a good standard of living. You know, you get a house, you can buy food, all the rest of that good stuff. Those opportunities in the Bahamas are far greater than they are not only in most other Caribbean countries, but certainly in Haiti. And so all of that is leading to the Bahamas. We should be very, very happy that we could be a part of a team whereby we don't have to do it on our own. We're only going to be a part of a team from countries contributing from all over the globe. Not only regionally, but you got countries in South America like Chile and Argentina. They're actually assisting as well. They may not send troops, but they're assisting with provision of training and equipment and all the rest of that good stuff, eh? So we only play in the role of assisting with the peacekeeping in efforts and in hopes that our Haitian brothers and sisters would be able to regain stability. And that country, being a part of our immediate region, I mean, there's nothing between Haiti and the Bahamas. No country between us. That's how close we should be. That's how close we are. And geographically, we just like the same as Cuba, the same as Dominican Republic. There's no country between, the same as Florida, no country between us, eh? So if they're doing poorly, it's only expected that they would flee in effort to do better. I would do so. I don't know about you. But if things get so shabby in the Bahamas that, I'm not comfortable being here, I'm going to try and find some place where I might be more comfortable. And that's just the way life goes all over the world. This is not a regional thing. This is a global thing, right? So, my dear friends, the fact that the Defense Force is preparing to send troops to Jamaica to attain train the trainers courses. They're going to actually be doing courses so that they could learn to train others, and they'll come back home and help prepare those who are going off to do the peacekeeping duties, eh? So they're going to do train the trainer courses and all that. And that's not the end of it, because before they actually go to Haiti to provide peacekeeping duties, based on information from last year, they would be engaged in training in conglomeration with all the other countries that are sending peacekeepers. And we would form a nucleus and then move into Haiti as a peacekeeping group. So this is something that we did early years ago in the 90s. We sent contingent after contingent of Royal Bahamas Defense Force officers and ratings to provide assistance in ensuring that Haiti, which was totally out of order, became stabilized again, which it did. And, of course, eventually things start to go awry again. So we need to do it again, people. This is our neighbors. This is our brothers and sisters. And, I know some of us think that we may be better than them, or they may be doing poorly, and that's their business. And no, that ain't how the world should work. That ain't how our region should work. We should be more than happy and prepared to lend a helping hand where we could to our brothers and sisters. So that's the big topic for tonight. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force sending troops to Jamaica to prepare for duties later on when the bell is rang for peacekeeping in Haiti. Second discussion we want to have is, what is the latest on our shanty town demolitions? Now, we would all be aware that we had a few shanty towns taken down over the past, 4 or 5 months? Probably a little more, probably 6 months. We started with Cool Acres. And we went to All Saints Bay. Most recently, we went to, somewhere off Coral Harbor. Area 51, Area 52, is it? Off Coral Harbor, where they had another shanty town that was taken down. And the task force to address all our shantytown situations has been, along with the Minister of Works, to Abaco to get an overview of what the situation may be surrounding that very large shantytown. It says about 10 times the size of the Pigeon Peter Mud, that has developed after or since Hurricane Dorian passed. And they just continue to mushroom and grow and on not on their land, on other people's land, on either private property where people ain't bothering, or crown land where the government ain't bothering, because they basically gone haywire and just putting up structure, and these structures are not being approved by the Ministry of Works, so they got to come down. And our good Minister of Works, our champion, I call him my champion, because he has been doing things that in my lifetime was not done. I done been here over 60 years, so I ain't as rich. And never before am I aware of any minister of works anywhere in the past that actually took down 3 shanty towns. The only other one I know that took down any shanty town was my good friend, the former minister of all kind of things, Minister D. Shane Gibson. Say what you like about my friend Shane. He actually took down a shanty town and on that property constructed government houses, low-cost houses we call them, although they're expensive as I don't know what. But he was able to get that done. And outside of him and our current Minister Clay Sweeting, I don't think no other minister could claim. And I say no other, I am also including Minister Loftus Roker, former Minister Loftus Roker. Yes, he did a lot, but I don't think he did. Well, back then, I don't know how many shanty towns they had in these deserted areas. But I can tell you one thing. He was very impacting when it comes to chasing them up and getting them out of Dodge. You know? So we can't take that from him. And ever since his days, Shane Gibson days came around, and you can't forget Minister Branwell McCartney. His time came around, and he was suiting up in camouflage suits and going out with the troops and chasing them down. Yeah? And nowadays we got Minister Clay Sweeting, who may not be suiting up in camouflage suits and boots with putties and all the rest of that. But he is certainly making sure that these low-hanging fruits are being sorted out. But the question now is, where does it go from here? We know that he's promised us that he gave 1 month notice to that big shanty town in Abaco. And I have no doubt that by the end of February, houses will start coming down in Abaco. Eh? We're looking forward to that, Minister Clay. We're looking forward to that one. So let's do that one. We'll talk also about the global carbon dilemma. We have a situation on this earth where carbon is actually clogging up the environment, causing a global warming all over the world. And as a result, that have to be addressed. So they had many COP 26, 7, 28 conference of the parties, meetings to address global warming in the world. And the last one, I said before on the show, concluded that there'll be no more fossil fuel burning on Earth after 2040. If you do it, it's illegal. So that puts us in a situation now, people. The situation that puts us in is that we will no longer need gas stations. We will no longer need tankers. So you can imagine how Clifton Pier now, no more tankers coming to the dock because, first of all, BPL don't need can't burn no fossil fuel. Them generators can be gone and replaced by what? Windmill farms and solar farms. Yes, that's going to happen, people. And I say probably within 10 years, 15 years the most. 2040 is only 15 years away. So we're going to talk about how some countries in the world are already doing it. We're going to talk about how many ships are doing it. They're already converting so that they would not be putting carbon in the air come 2040. So we will dig a little deep into that. We started to talk about it a little bit last week. But boy, last week was so hot, we ain't get much done, eh? Then we got the Red Sea dilemma. That is really a combination of 3 bodies of water. The Red Sea, then you got the Gulf of Aden, just to the southeast of that, and then you got the Suez Canal, just to the north of that, that leads into the, what the sea name? The Mediterranean Sea, which is a huge body of water. And to the south, of course, the Gulf of Aden would lead into the Indian Ocean, which is another huge body of water. So it's a shortcut for ships to take. And while it may not have been as busy as the Panama Canal, actually it probably is. It's probably more busy than the Panama Canal, because they don't have to wait for locks to fill up and all the rest of that to move the ship. Ships drive straight through it, with a pilot, of course. So this is probably the busiest bottleneck area in the world, because, you know, it's right next door to where all the oil tankers be going, not all, but most of the oil tankers in the world be going to buy their supply of oil products. That is the Persian Gulf. So this sits right next to the Persian Gulf. And so for that reason, many ships going in and out of the Persian Gulf, I think about 40%, almost half of the ships going in the Persian Gulf would have to pass through there. Because other than going through the Suez Canal, which is linked to the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, which are two, right now, very dangerous bodies of water, those ships would have to go all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, which is at the extreme south of Africa, which is pretty nasty sometimes. Plus, they got to add another 12 to 14 days on their voyage, compared to if they went through the Suez Canal, Red Sea, and eventually passed through the Gulf of Aden. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that area. Alternative energy sources. Now that the world has to be moving toward zero fossil fuel after 2040, a lot of things happening. And when I say a lot of things, you have ships that were running on fuel oil. That's the main thing, eh? Those big ships, they all run on fuel oil because that's cheaper than diesel, cheaper than gas. And then, of course, the smaller vessels want to go fast. They need diesel and gas for ready, you know, they fuel oiling around, they for slow turning engines. So most of the ships are running off either fuel oil, diesel, or gas. Of course, in 2040, they can't run off none of those. So they are now moving toward liquefied natural gas, which also has like 40% of fossil fuel in it. But those other ones, like bunker C, fuel oil, diesel, gas, they got over 80%, 80, 90, some 70% fossil fuel in them. So they are the ones that putting so much carbon in the air. So ships are now turning to LNG to break it down so that they will only now be polluting half the amount of carbon they used to pollute. And then some are going to methanol. And you know, methanol again has even less fossil fuel than LNG. So this one is down to like 20%. And believe it or not, although it's a little more costly, they're now converting their engines to utilize hydrogen. That's when you use the actual water, salt water. Salt go one way, hydro come the next way, oxygen go the next way, and they use them strategically to form energy that causes the ship to turn a propeller. However, that is designed to do. It happens. They have ships that now run off hydrogen. They have making more engines that run off hydrogen. As a matter of fact, they're putting hydrogen stations throughout the Baltic region now, so that a ship that is operating off hydrogen can go in port and take on some more hydrogen, just like they do with bunker C right now. Eh? They're using alcohol. Engines are now being made that can function off alcohol, right? Further, they're actually putting massive sails on ships on a rotor where they could roll it out automatically and shift it to where they want it to go based on what the wind doing to catch the wind. And these are already in place on many ships. They're using kite wind. In other words, they put a big kite, put a mile ahead of the ship, but it's really on a lot of strength, and the wind catches that kite and helps the ship along. So they're finding all kind of means and ways, or should I say ways and means, to get away from fossil fuel, and realizing that that transition is not going to cause any hindrance to trade, because they're doing it in a way that it's phasing in the new energy or alternative energy and phasing out the fossil fuel. So we got a lot of things going on tonight, people. These are the basic topics that we seek to engage. Be advised that we are indeed locked and loaded with information. So please stay tuned as we unload this litany of details surrounding these timely topics. I take this opportunity to give a shout out to my Annie Mae up in Freeport, my number one fan, Annie Mae. That's my girl, Annie Mae, 90 plus, going strong. Boy, look here, man, Annie Mae tell 91, all of y'all have to know, because we got to make a big deal out of that 91. And then 92 and all the rest of them, you know, Annie Mae says she getting 100, so I with her. Good night, Annie Mae, and your 4 lovely daughters taking good care of you, keeping you going. Tell all them hello for me, all my good cousins. So to our listening audience out there, I take pleasure in introducing to you the man behind the controls tonight, our wonderful producer. I say, drum roll. Ladies and gentlemen, I reserve no hesitation in presenting to you tonight the insatiable, the man of the hour, the man with all the power. He is fully able, quite capable, the one and only Mr. Craig Gibson. Yes, he's back with that big time Defense Force salute. I tell you, boy, that man, that's a military man, you see there. Yes, people, you're listening to Maritime Matters. And on this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matter airs weekly at 19:30 to 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday here on Love 97 FM. The purpose of our show is to highlight persons that made significant contributions to maritime in the Bahamas and to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities in the maritime sector. We also cover current maritime issues from the domestic and international maritime feeds. Halfway through the show, we will open the phone lines. The number to reach us, and you can start whenever you're ready. We ready to go? Lock and loaded. 326-8255. That's 326-8255. Yeah, we got the lines open for you now, people. So, in the meantime and in between time, we're going to run to a break. Again, we're talking maritime. You're listening to Maritime Matters. Take our first break, and when we return, we'll engage tonight's maritime discussions. Listen, people, don't touch that dial. This one could be hot with information. Thank you so much.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, look like nothing's gonna come my way, so I'm just gonna sit.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. You are listening to Maritime Matters. And you know, in my Bible days, my days of Sunday school, you know, as a little boy, I grew up in church. I want you all to think I was always a non-churcher like today. I grew up in the church. Annex Baptist Church, Baptist Bible Church, St. John's Native Baptist Church. I used to go to all kinds of church. Baptist. St. Paul's Baptist in Deep Creek, South Andres. I've been to all kinds of church, eh? And I would have learned, as the Bible says, in the beginning. In the beginning, there was God. And they say, goes on to say, God was the Word, and the Word was with God. And it goes on to say, and God created the heavens, and then God created the earth, and then the land, and the oceans. And it goes on to the plants, trees, seagrass, etc. And then it goes on to talk about the animals. And then eventually, Adam and Eve, the humans. And the human race began from the beginning. And in so doing, a balance was struck. The plants all took in carbon dioxide, and all plants released oxygen. And then when the human came around, the human took in oxygen. And then not only human, all animals took in oxygen and released or exhaled carbon dioxide. Excuse me. So there was a mix created by God, and now we may say, well, okay, it's created by nature as well. But there's a natural mix and a balance whereby the carbon dioxide would be taken in by the trees, which is released by the human and all the other animals, and then the trees would give off that oxygen, which all the animals will intake. And it's a cycle. It's a carbon dioxide oxygen cycle between plants and animals. And that's why they say they have two kingdoms in the world, the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. And where am I going with this? I'm going with this because if we fast forward, we'll find that eventually man made machine, eh? And the machine that man made consumed carbon dioxide, just like the trees. But the balance is not designed for man, or should I say plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and machine kingdom. There was no machinery kingdom. So because the machinery utilized oxygen and gave off a lot of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon, all kind of things, eh? But a lot of carbon. It introduced into the environment far more carbon than the environment would need. So as time moved on from the 1800s into the early 1900s, late 1900s, now the 2000s, machinery became more and more produced, vast produced. I mean, almost everybody got car now, so now, eh? When I was a little boy, some families ain't had car. Much families had more than one car. This back in the 60s and 70s, Not many families had more than one car. Now, not many families have less than 2 and 3 cars. And that's only cars. Cars provide 28% of the carbon in the air. So, we got planes, we got ships, we got even cement. As you build your house, when you mix the cement, that cement is releasing carbon all the time because that came from the earth. All the coal that they use, that came from the earth. The tree roots that corroded, break down over a period of time, and they turn into coal. Well, actually, not necessarily tree roots, but that's where the tree roots store the carbon, because that's what they do, just like us. When we eat too much food, the body don't get rid of what it likes. The body keeps that in. That's how we get fat, That's why I got this pouch in front of me now. Anyway, we ain't going on that road. But anyway, we had the imbalance. And that imbalance, because of machinery, caused the environment to be overcrowded with carbon. Now, what this carbon did? This carbon not only blocked the environment from causing the heat to not have an escape path. This carbon soaks up heat. Every element, every molecule of the carbon takes in heat. It absorbs that heat. And it turns that heat. It just sits there, get heavy, and it tries to just keep on taking the heat because that's what carbon want. They want heat, right? And because they take in the heat, they get heavy and they can't get out of the ozone, the environment, the abyss, as we call it. And what it does is every day when the sun heats up the earth, because the sun penetrates everything, goes to the core of it and heats it up. And when the sun sets, all that heat starts to escape because heat rises. And it comes up. And years ago, before all this machinery, that heat used to get beyond the Earth's atmosphere and just go into space. But now the heat can't pass the carbon because the machinery put so much carbon in there, and every day all these machinery still putting more carbon in there, that right now the heat is trapped on it. And most of the heat gets out, but some of it is trapped and it keeps building up. And right now, that's why we are experiencing what they call global warming. And I mean, I could recall when I was a young child, when I was a young boy growing up, when Christmas come round, all us used to know because we had to wear jackets. It was cold. Now we got year round. You may have to, I don't even know if I wear no jacket yet for the year. You may have to wear your jacket about 3 or 4 times days of the year. Back then you had to wear, once you see November reach, you wear a jacket until March every day. And I had a friend named Ray Raman. Ray was in school. Ray wasn't a very nice person, right? I remember one day, because sometimes all us couldn't afford certain things. Ray made a statement. He said, boy, look here, anybody who ain't got on jacket now, they ain't got no jacket. Because ain't no way somebody... And we had some students in school who ain't had no jacket. But Ray, that's just a main fella. Ray, he was my boy. So, ladies and gentlemen, the global warming is on. We no longer have those days or those months where we have to wear a jacket in the Bahamas because global warming is changing all of that. Global warming is also making the hurricanes far more impacting, far more dangerous. As you see Dorian, before Dorian, I don't want you all to forget, Before Dorian, we had Hurricane Joaquin, which came out of the Atlantic Ocean with no warning. They might have had about 6 hours warning because it sank one whole big container ship. It came up to Crooked Island, Long Island, take some ships up ashore, turn the place upside down, take some big boulders out of the sea and put it in people's house. And then it came right back to the east and went back out to sea. But the amount of damage or the intensity of damage that was done as a result of Hurricane Joaquin, everybody would know that Hurricane Joaquin was far more powerful than a Strength 5. Eh? It probably was a strength 6. And then Dorian came and she was a strength 7. And I don't know if one coming to be strength 8. Because they stopped at strength 5 because they'd never envisioned that they would have hurricanes way stronger than those. And in the past couple years, we experienced 2 so far. And we don't know when the next one comes. So the entire world have to do something about this global warming, eh? And the United Nations got together over a period of time. They start from, must be way back in 2014, eh? Or even before that. They start to address this global warming. And they started to have like this COP, Conference of the Parties on Global Warming, having meeting. Recently it was every year for the past 3-4 years. And the last one, which was COP28, they decided, or they mandated, the United Nations, this is, that in 2040, there will be no more fossil fuel being burnt. In other words, anything that gives off carbon, that's coal, fuel, any kind of fuel, diesel, gas, fuel oil, what else? What else is give off that type of thing? Any kind of oil product, coal, and I guess that's it for fossil fuel, eh? Yeah, because they converted everything into started to use. That's why so much oil, and they decided that, and it wasn't easy, because you had those countries like Saudi Arabia, and the head fella for this was from Dubai. Dubai, they was tension till the last hour because they needed a unanimous pass. They couldn't just have 90% of the country say yeah and 10%. No, every single country had to say yeah. And guess what? At the end of the day, on the very last day of COP28, every single country say yes, we're going to quit fossil fuel. But do you know what that means? That means that all those big-time fuel countries like Iran and Qatar and Kuwait and Saudi Arabia and those countries in that Persian Gulf, they would all lose the billions of dollars they make on a monthly basis when 2040 comes. They're going to have to find a way now to survive without their oil money, which is very difficult in that region because they can't farm. They only got a bunch of desert. So we don't know what they're going to do, but we're going to have a seismic shift. We're going to have a shift of wealth coming from places like the Middle East, where people is paying for all the fuel. And it's going to spread around the world because people are now, and they already started doing it, people are now going to be providing those big, massive windmills to use the wind to create energy. And that's happening already. And I got lots and lots of literature on it. Next week, we'll probably just talk about wind farms. And the same thing is happening with solar farms, eh? Now, we know in the Bahamas, we got some of the best direct sunlight around. So there's no reason why we can't have solar farms, because solar farms are now providing the same and more. Oh, we got a call on the line? The same and more when it comes to energy that BPL and the rest of those power plants needing to use. And we'll talk about some of that. Anyway, somebody's giving us a call. Let's see what... Maritime Matters, good night to you, caller.
Yes, man, Maritime Matters. Matters, everything matters.
My brother from the 8 miles of rock. How are you, sir?
Ah, man. You know, I hear you talking about these producers of oil from the Middle East. But do you know Ecuador is the biggest producer of oil in the world?
Yes, the biggest producer, but not the biggest exporter, because, you know, they wanted to keep the oil for themselves. So they wasn't doing that much exporting, so they wasn't relying on that to keep them wealthy. But these countries I'm talking about, they ain't got nowhere to turn once they ain't selling oil.
Well, America is the biggest producer of oil in the world.
The biggest producer, but not the biggest supplier.
Okay. And one of the richest families in the world on this planet Earth is so invested into oil. The Koch brothers. You heard of the Koch brothers?
Yeah.
Yes, the Koch brothers that backed Donald Trump. You know those guys?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's going on right now. You know what I mean? And in order for us to really see a movement, we're gonna get plenty feedback. That's probably one of the reasons why. Because of our Prime Minister pushing towards this thing, they are pushing back. They're trying to push bad press our way, saying we is this and we is that, and they're not looking at their own place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you. But at the end of the day, although they're making up all this money off oil right now, all that stop in 2040.
Yes, but the Americans right now are pushing against that. And
no. America was one of the countries.
For our carbon credits, they're giving us a couple of speedboats and giving us a couple of police cars and just trying to like treat us like chicken in the cook. Give us a little food and yeah.
Well, I can tell you, America.
And the nastiest and one of the most treacherous operations in the Bahamas, AirTech. You know what I mean? That is completely like, we don't even know what's going on over here.
Well, I don't know if that's our business, eh? That's. Do you know how many military bases the U.S. have around? Look at Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay. You think the Cubans have an idea what's going on in there?
No, sir.
No, but that when they lease.
America got the most bases around the world.
Well, they
15% of the whole world, guns and bullets. And they talk about violence. What is more violent than that?
Why you think right now, dear caller? Why do you think that the war, the way things are going in Israel, where they could continue to bomb the Palestinians to powder, although they already bomb them to powder, they still ain't stopping. It's because of the great USA. Do you know why the USA is wouldn't stop them?
Well, they right now is filling their pockets with money because war brings money to their pocket.
No, this ain't about money. The US wants a strategic location in that Middle East where they can actually have all their artillery, their vessels, and think about it now. If they don't have Israel to do that with, which country would they be able to move their stuff into and be accepted?
Well, I tell you something. They don't want to see no country in the world live better than them.
No.
We got Libya the other day, that Obama bomb. You know what I mean? Those people, they were getting, if you get married, you get $50,000. They living there buy your house, gas on 50 cents a gallon, free health care. When you borrow from the banks, you don't pay back no interest. You know what I mean? They were living better than a lot of countries in the West, especially in America. And what they did, that's what they do, you know what I mean, all over the world.
Yes, it's a bigger level of influence, eh? Because if you got money, you got influence. Even in our country, we don't even have to look at the U.S. We can look at our own country, right? We got some people in this country with some big bucks.
United States is print paper.
My brother, we got some people in this country with the big bucks, and they dictate as to how things go in this country.
Well, because they got paper.
Because they got no, but like
when you got sand, and when you got natural resources like that, you are rich. You're wealthy. It's plus the most wealthiest thing that you could have is your health.
Okay, so let's go back to carbon credits. We need to get our carbon credits within a reasonable time, because see what gonna happen, brother 8 Mile Rock, right? What's gonna happen is right now today, our seagrass meadows are sequestering carbon in record amounts out of the environment, and our country today is not getting a dime. You know why?
That's been going on.
No. But yeah, but
we want to get paid. We need to do something to get paid.
We need
to fight to get paid. We got to stop them from doing what they're doing here. Look at the salt. You know what I mean? The natural resource salt. I hear it. The space shuttle using it out of space. They're using it for all kind of things. They're using it for energy. They're using it for medicine. They're using it for all kind of things. Why can't we put a factory here in the Bahamas and export it instead of we shipping it out and then we got to buy it back?
Well, ain't nobody stopping me and you from doing that, you know.
All right.
Why? What you mean? Why we don't do it? There's nothing to stop me and you from doing that. I don't think it's a good idea, but if you want to do that, you could go right ahead and do it. There's no government policy to stop you from producing and exporting salt.
All right, then listen at me, man. Me and you need to put y'all $500 million there, and then we can get some other big oligarchs to see who what I mean, sell shares and stuff like Cable Bahamas and the rest of those big entities came out empty points. I mean, the cruise port now, so come here, empty points and start selling the dream. We need to start doing that then.
Well, I tell you why we ain't gonna be so successful. We're not going to be very successful because, first of all, we don't have a ready market. We may produce salt, you know, but if ain't nobody buy it from us because they buying it from their conglomerate who they affiliated with, then we making salt and we ain't making no money.
We gonna make money because we can put we can put a stop on that one. You know what I mean? Make sure only so much of our natural resource go out here. Salt is one of our natural resources, and guess what? We are Bahamians, and because we are Bahamians, there will have to be a policy. You know what I mean? If we can't sell equal amount, you know what I mean, they don't sell none.
No, you can't have a policy against you need foreign investment. You can't cost, because if you do that to one foreign investor, the rest can pull out. You can't do that.
No.
You can't do that. Yeah, they can pull out. They can say, this is how you're treating foreign investors, man. We taking a chance. It's a risk to invest in the Bahamas because the Bahamas telling you they gonna have Bahamians do the same thing and compete against you. That wouldn't work, my brother. But anyway, that's something.
Let me let you know. They don't know when it will be cold over there.
Well, I tell you one thing. The amount of money we can make off salt is
the whole of Europe and the whole of North America need what we got, our natural resources.
Yes, sir, I agree with you, but I'm saying to you, at the same time, what we can make from that salt is a joke to what we're supposed to be making from sequestering all this carbon out the air to save the world. Right now, you got big companies that use a lot of fossil fuel who are looking for ways to offset. They're not looking at this very moment, but we should be in negotiation with these entities now. But do you know of any entity that the Bahamas is actually addressing or in negotiations with to say that we have carbon credits, we want to trade that off with you as you come close to your deadline? Because obviously you're not going to be able to convert everything in time, so you need, in the meantime, some credits.
You need to start now.
You need to, well, I mean, we should have started a long time ago. But
I understand that they got a company set up. And they made this management company, carbon management something, another.
Yeah, but we don't need a company to do that. We need the government to open a carbon credit authority or carbon authority for the Bahamas. We need a government entity to deal with that. We don't need no private company getting involved in that, because at the end of the day, based on research that I did, right, we get a international non-profit company supposed to get 49% of what this country makes of carbon, which could be well north of $100 billion a year.
Well, I might as well put my my NGO in and start there too, because we can't let that one get in the room. We gotta I start an NGO so I can get some of that too.
But like I tell you can start your NGO. I mean, you can get the nod to do what they're doing, eh? Having an NGO don't mean you're gonna get what you want. I don't know how these people getting it, but they got it. They got the 49%. I don't know if it's written in stone, but that, based on my research, that's what they're gonna be getting, right? And then you got another entity who is a local private company that are going to be also getting 49%. And from that 49%, the sovereign wealth fund is supposed to get half of that, or 51% of that. And then the next 49% goes, I guess, to the company. I don't know who owned the company, because it's so hard to find out who owned the company. But all of this is actually being carried out right now, while instead of us having an authority to deal with our carbon credits, because we have qualified people that were transferred to the office of the Prime Minister to form this entity to deal with our carbon credits and all that. But look like that was put together and left aside, and now the private company is going to be moving in and taking over. I don't know what's going on, my brother, but all I can say is we need to get something going so that this country can start making money because once you see all of this conversion start, right, with all the fossil fuel being replaced by windmills and solar and all that, we even ain't got no opportunity no more to get nothing from our carbon credits because ain't nobody can be producing carbon.
Well, the biggest one pushing back, America pushing back, and all the rest of
America's not pushing back. America was
stop us, like to try and stop our headway, because what they're doing, they're creating right now. They are creating like buffer zones where you get away, But our people need what we need. And are we Bahamians or we a different race of people? Africans or what?
We Bahamians. But I can tell you that based on how the voting went, in the last COP28 conference of the parties, the U.S. was basically trying to convince those oil-based countries that, look, we need you all to come on board, and every country ended up coming on board. So I can't say that the U.S. is against it. I can say that they may not be buying our credits as we speak, but we need to approach the individual companies, right? Because we got big companies like Apple and Walmart and big companies that got trucks moving around all day, right? These companies will soon need offsets for the amount of carbon they're putting in there, and it's countries like the Bahamas that can strike a deal with them. Pardon?
We need to solicit them.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm not hearing anything about us approaching any private entity that will need offsets.
Okay, well, 1 million needs to get out there, and whoever is dealing with this thing, maybe we can even bring back Rumi.
Well, I don't know who we need to bring back, but all I know is we got professionals who know about this thing working in the office of the Prime Minister. We got negotiators. The government have negotiators that we just need to really reach out to try and sell some of it. We know we have it. We have already mapped it out. They already have a scale. Now what we need to do is we need to get it certified or verified. And the verification entities, international verification entities, needs to come in and verify that, yes, we do have the 90 million plus acres of sequestering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, somebody else may want to get in, man. You know what I mean? I want to hold the whole show up because everybody has some good interest in people say certain things.
My brother.
And I give you a rest right now, and I've been listening for the rest of the night.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, my friend. Ain't nobody look like they ain't on this carbon credit, so we're going to switch to the Red Sea dilemma and see what happens, eh?
All right.
Thank you so much for calling. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's my good friend. I call him King Arthur. King Arthur calling all the way from Grand Bahama. I wouldn't even say Freeport because he lives in 8 Mile Rockaway. And that's the man who understands some of what's going on with carbon credit or what we could do with carbon credit money and all the rest of that good stuff. So we move to our next hot topic issue where we talk about the dilemma in the Red Sea. And the dilemma in the Red Sea is all tied in with the occupation, I wouldn't even know the occupation, the bombing of the Gaza Strip by the Israelis, eh? As a result of all the bombing and all the suffering, the Palestinians are not able to get medical supplies, food, water, that type of thing, because the Israelis have blocked the passages of vehicles and aircraft and anything that were coming to bring those supplies so that they could stall out or cause Hamas entities to suffer and then, I guess, surrender. But obviously that's not happening because as the Hamas representative suffer, so are the regular civilians. So the innocent are suffering with the guilty. And I think it's for that reason that the entire world, right, particularly by way of the United Nations, are saying to the Israelis, please stop the bombing. Allow these people to get some supplies. Allow these people to get some food. Allow these people to have some peace of mind, because this bombing every day, it's really not good for any grouping of people. And of course, the Israelis are using this opportunity to kind of tidy up the Gaza Strip, because the Israelis, they feel like the Palestinians were giving them too much problems over the Gaza Strip, particularly these Hezbollahs and Hamas people. Well, the Hezbollahs are more like the government side of it, but boy, Hamas, they go on into Israel and do some damage, and as a result, they were getting bombed ever since, eh? So, the folks in Yemen, which is a couple hundred miles to the southeast of Israel, they are the Houthis. And the Houthis are in support of Hamas, or while they may not be supporting Hamas, they're certainly going against what Israel is continuing to do, right? And they decided to take action. So what are they doing? They are actually causing ships to veer away from the Red Sea. They're saying that if you are a ship coming through the Red Sea to get to the Suez Canal, to get to the Mediterranean Sea, or vice versa, you got to pass so close to us that we're going to bomb you if you're affiliated with the U.S., Britain, which other country? U.S., Britain, or Israel. Because if Israel ain't allowing vessels to pass through and go to Gaza, then we are not going to allow vessels to pass through and go to Israel. And we know the Americans and the British forces are assisting the Israelis, as always, in being able to continue doing what they're doing. So we're against all of them. Any American affiliated ship, any British affiliated ship passing this way, we're going to put bombs on. As a matter of fact, we're going to make a statement. So we're putting bomb on anything we ain't sure about. And we ain't sure we can let nobody pass. So what that has done, inevitably, it has caused many, many ships, particularly cruise ships, particularly tankers, and chemical ships that carry chemical that, if exploded, could be a big, dangerous situation. Because the Houthis have been taking charge of that area and basically creating a shutdown. And when I say shutdown, you may have a trickle, one or two ships passing through, But the Houthis have caused over 90% of ships that would normally use the Suez Canal. And they're causing problems for Egypt, because Egypt makes a lot of money off the Suez Canal. So now their revenue is dropping tremendously. The pilots who work the ships can't get no job. The ship operators and all the rest of that. The tax people, ships got to pay for using it. All of this is not funds not coming into the Egyptian economy. So it's creating disturbances in more ways than one. And ships are now being required to, if they want to go from the European area to the Persian Gulf, India, Australia, anywhere to the east of Africa, they will no longer have the luxury of going through the Suez Canal, Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Indian Ocean, and straight across. They will now have to go all the way around the entire African continent, which takes them an additional 12 to 14 days on average. Because the average ship do 16 to 20 knots. So if they're doing that kind of speed, it could take them. If they're going slower, obviously it'll take them longer. If they're going faster, then it go a little shorter. Okay? But on average, ships taking anywhere between 12 to 14 days. addition to what they would normally take if they had gone through the Mediterranean Sea, through the Suez Canal, Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Indian Ocean, and around. So big impacts are being done. And the Houthis, they started just kind of, sending RPGs and rocket launchers at ships. But now these guys are getting so sophisticated, they are actually considering drone submarines. I understand that they are making submarines that could carry drones and cause the drone to put on those ships to cause them explode if they come in that region, in that area. So ships are even more fearful because you could lose your whole ship. And recently they bombed a ship and the ship actually sank. That's what the Houthis did. So they are making grave impact on global shipping, And in addition to that, what they have done recently, what the International Maritime Organization have done recently, along with the International Labour Organization, they put a mandate in place whereby if a crew member is saying that they're afraid for their life to go through the Red Sea area or the Suez Canal, the ship cannot go. Even if one crew say, I am afraid, I don't want to go through there, the ship cannot go. So for a ship to go through there now, they got to get every single seafarer on board to say, well, I ain't got no problem, I'll take the chance. Right? And there ain't much seafarer saying that. So really and truly right now, things tough. The Houthis got it on lock. And of course, the armed forces of the Americans and the Brits, also the Germans, the Australians, they're all coming together now because the world see this problem as not only an Israeli problem, but a global maritime problem. And it is. But they have been going in and out of Yemen, bombing areas where they think these Houthis are, but it really didn't reap much results because the Houthis continue to do daily strikes. So Yemen is so large and got so much civilians, you can't just go bombing the whole place. Like how the Gaza Strip is being bombed right now. So although the U.S. got a whole drayload of ammunition, a whole drayload of technology, a whole drayload of resources, along with the British Armed Forces, German Armed Forces, Australia Armed Forces, there's no real impact being made by them on weeding the Houthis out, Yes, they probably caught some of them, but that impact ain't enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are with the Houthis. The Red Sea dilemma. At this point, we move to our second break. And when we return, we will go for the grand finale.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart. At Bahamas Maritime Connection Limited, we offer first-class maritime security services throughout the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean. As experts in maritime security, we specialize in production of ISPS assessments and plans, verification audits, certified familiarization training, and port security consultancy, just to name a few. Our services also include provision of a security force to maintain all required ISPS facility security compliance. For all your maritime security needs, Visit us today in Nassau at our East Street South location or in Freeport in the Kipling Building. Call us at 392-3515 or follow us on all social media platforms. Bahamas Maritime Connection, your leader in maritime security. Let's help you make the connection.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome back to Maritime Matters. Boy, time rolling away. We got less than 20 minutes left. So, we talked about our global warming. And our global warming brings up the topic of where are we going to go now? Now that the earth is experiencing all this heat that is bringing violent storms and big floods and all the rest of that. And we even got a drought in an area called Panama Canal. I guess because you have floods in other places, the water gone out. Now they have drought. How do we deal with that? In the Bahamas, our government pledged and mandated that all government buildings by the year 2030, that's only another 6 years. By the year 2030, all government buildings will be equipped with renewable energy, solar. They'll be solarized to the extent that there needs to be. And what else our government pledge? Our Prime Minister, my Roll Avenue brother. Both of us grew up in Roll Avenue, eh? He a couple years ahead of me, but all us grew up in Roll Avenue. He had pledged to the world, or to the United Nations, that we would also, in addition to making all the buildings as solarized as possible to save energy, we're going to also ensure that all government vehicles are electronic vehicles, as they call them, EVs. And I've started to see some red plates that are EVs. Albeit, they're still bringing in red plates that are fossil fuel. We could do that for another 15 years. And in 15 years, they could replace them, eh? But as of 2030, I based on the pledge that the government of the Bahamas made, and I say the PLP administration or the FNM administration, the government of the Bahamas made this pledge to the United Nations. So even if the government changes, that pledge is in as the government of the Bahamas, eh? Pledge that by 2030, there'll be no government vehicle that is burning fossil fuel. No combustion engines. They'll all be EVs. So we got to start watching how the government is moving toward making this happen, eh? And I can tell you that EVs or electronic vehicles, there's a move now to make them just as cheap as combustion engines. There's a move now, particularly from China. You know, China is now the largest EV producing nation in the world. Don't mind Tesla and them fellas in the US. Teslas are being made in China. Most of the Teslas are being made in China. And they assemble them in other parts of the world, but parts coming from China. Right? And they had a big blockage because of the Suez Canal. They had a big delay in some of those parts for EVs getting from China to Germany. Because now, instead of the ship coming through the Mediterranean Sea, through the Red, once we talk about the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, it had to go all the way around Africa. And so they didn't get the supplies in time, so the cars were not being turned out in time. I don't know if that's still a problem, but the largest entity that dealing now with electrical vehicles is China. So China is looking to take over the Persian Gulf. I told you there's going to be a seismic shift. A huge shift in the money that is being made for fossil fuel. Because fossil fuel is no longer going to be moving around the world by time. All those tankers you see now, they'll be the thing of the past. All the gas stations on our streets, they'll be the thing of the past. I don't know what gas stations could start selling, but it can't be gas, it can't be diesel, it can't be, because all that stuff could be finished in 15 years. Right? And that will impact all the car dealers. You now got to get rid of all of those cars you get on your lot over the next 15 years, because after 15 years, nobody can drive them. Because you can't have no combustion, carbon being fed into the atmosphere worldwide. Eh? So everybody will be driving electronic vehicles. So we need to now get used to the idea. People may ask, okay, so if everybody driving electronic vehicles, we got to charge our batteries in night, like how we do with our cell phones, eh? Because the batteries are going to improve. The batteries are going to get far more reliable and durable than they are now. Just like cell phones got better over the years. Just like televisions and videos and all those things get better over the years. It's like the internet and what the big thing is they talking about now? Artificial intelligence, AI. All of those things are going to be getting better. And as they get better, so will the batteries for these vehicles, for these EVs. But now they got to plug into your house at night so that in the morning they'll be fully charged. And once they're fully charged, nowadays you can get over 300 miles out of them. Right? So by the time 2030 and 2040 roll around, you'll probably be able to get 3,000 miles out of them, not 300. You got to call on the line. I getting on the groove with my electronic stuff now. Call you on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Good evening, Captain Bain.
Before you say anything, Captain Brain, before you say anything, let me just say happy birthday to you, my friend. I was going to make sure you call first. I wasn't going to give you that birthday kudos just like that. But now you call, happy birthday to you, my friend. You ain't get no younger. I ain't tell them how young you is.
I feel a little bit older today, but
how are you, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, but Cap, I'm liking this conversation this evening. But we don't differ on a lot of things. But I must have a divergent view to yours this evening, because when we talk about this whole business of moving toward COP, the climate conference and the commitments, I think, to be honest, what is actually going on in the world, particularly when you look at the U.S. Recently, Joe Biden would have recently approved drilling in Alaska. And when you look at the amount of barrels a day oil production in the United States every day, I think way up to like 13 point something million barrels a day. And, if anyone have an inkling about oil production, it takes about 5 to 10 years just to, once this thing is approved, just to begin extracting that oil. And, when you talk about 2030, I think, was it 2030? Was the deadline for that they
2040, 15 years.
2040. When you think about that, it just does not add up. So I believe that, while a lot of this sound good, you have the big dog countries like the United States, you got Russia, you got Germany, all these people who rely on this oil, China and the like. They're not going to stop drilling. If the world community was so serious about this thing, I think by now, leading up to I don't think no new drilling projects would have been approved.
No, but those projects that you're talking about, they didn't just come in the process after the COP28 decided that 2040 would be the deadline. They were always on the drawing board, and guess what? Fossil fuel is not going to discontinue in the Persian Gulf overnight. It probably wouldn't discontinue until it's going to naturally be replaced with renewable energy. Naturally, it's just going to happen that even if you have fossil fuel, people didn't want that because they realize it costs less to use a different source of energy.
Yeah, but that's I think that's utopia, because at the end of the day, when you look at production of cars, and you look at the timeline it takes to produce vehicles, and you look at all the energy, what I call the greedy energy modes of transportation within our space, like airplanes and whatnot. So, I mean, you're talking about something that while we say, yeah, these things ambitious, I personally believe that this thing is going to be so lethargic that in our lifetime we probably wouldn't see no real meaningful change in the way we utilize energy. And if we do, then it's going to be minute. It's going to be a secondary energy source, and people may have options or whatever the case may be. But I think that the fossil fuel and oil and the use of greenhouse gas depleting substances is going to be with us for a little while. Because when you really think about it, who's going to force the big countries to do any better?
Well, nobody's.
They're not going to police themselves. You look at what's going on in the world today. Look at what is happening. We live in a rules-based society, a world, yes.
Yep.
We had the Geneva Convention speaks to if you use the use of reciprocal force, right?
Yep.
War and an armed conflict.
Yep.
We have 1,000, I think it's 1,400 Israelis murdered by Hamas, purportedly murdered by Hamas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Israeli turn around and murder more than 30,000.
Well, and counting, eh?
Rocket-propelled grenade launchers. These fellas are flattening everything in sight, inclusive of hospitals.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brother Brain.
Who's going to police the world when we live in a rules-based world where the rules, whoever the big dog is in the world, and whoever wants to exert themselves at any given point, they make the rules.
They make the rules.
Doing the exact same thing, flattening apartment blocks. Nobody policing that. You have the whole world community come together and say, hey, we want to put an end to this killing, this needless killing at this time. You have countries with veto power. They say no, killing must continue.
Yeah, but you have that, and there's nothing that you, me, or any other country in the world could do to stop those with, in other words, we know when China's ready, they're going to take over Taiwan. I mean, who could stop that? That can't stop.
Oh, indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
We know that. We know that.
Next on the agenda.
Yeah, we know that when the U.S. was ready, they just took over Iraq. Nobody could have stopped them. We got a situation now where the Israelis are just taking over because they have the support of the big fellas. They could take over any country in that region if they choose to, right? So there are some things that the United Nations cannot stop, right? But there are some things that through agreement, they can stop. And what I can tell you is based on the research and all the development that are happening now, even in the big USA, do you know that New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut are now having a wind farm installed to supply energy to the three of those big major cities? That is actually happening now. And if the U.S. is going to do that in those areas, the others are going to follow. The same thing is happening. The EU just gave $90 billion to cause the entire Baltic region to be equipped with hydrogen outlets to provide hydrogen to ships that are hydrogen propelled. So this thing is happening, my brother. Now, and we are just at the early stage.
But it's so ironic, right? When you mention the advances of the countries like the United States with respect to renewable energy, if you would do a little bit of research, you will know that roughly in 2017, I think, the U.S. the amount of wells they were drilling were probably 17,000 thereabouts, right? Was drilled, right? Mm-hmm. And it is forecasted. This was the forecast say for 2022. There will be somewhere in the region of 22,000 plus, almost 23,000 new oil wells drilled in the United States. So while you purportedly is the world leader in trying to cause people to do the right thing, you on the other hand, you're drilling more wells.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, Brother Brain, that is fine to do that, because at the end of the day, you can have wells, you can have plenty fuel, but cars ain't gonna need no more fuel. Ships ain't gonna need no more fuel. What you can do with it?
Well, I can tell you one.
What are you gonna do with it?
Drilling no well. They wouldn't be drilling no well just to have oil in the ground.
So what are they gonna do with it if nobody needs it?
Investment involved in drilling one well.
So what are they gonna do with it if it's not needed?
Because these people will only impose on their citizens what they're willing to accept.
No, but they already signed on to this. This is something what
in the election, Donald Trump in the election, and all these agreements they will sign about.
I can't knock that, right? Because I understand what you're saying. They have flips and flops based on who got their finger on the pulse, right? And I agree with you. And all I'm saying to you is the world is moving forward, and if the entire world is changing to renewable energy, you could have all the force of you. I don't want you to think those countries in the Persian Gulf don't want to continue selling their oil. They don't have to do nothing. They already have that.
And they will.
But but nobody's gonna want no more oil because they're gonna all these like BPL and all them. They're gonna be replaced with wind and solar. They don't need no more oil. No more tankers coming in. None of that happening.
I respectfully have to agree to disagree with you on this matter. I think the amount of, when you look at the size of companies like PL and Exxon Mobil and the size of those companies and the amount of investment these companies have worldwide with respect to oil and oil-related products, the plastics, the light.
Yeah, but when I start telling you about the gigawatts of power,
they're not going to stop using plastics. not right up and down. You know they.
My brother, the plastics, they may not stop using, right? Just like how you see that plant in Great Britain, and we out of time, but we talk. The producers say we could talk for 2 more minutes. That the one that was making steel in Britain. They changed their furnace from fossil fuel, and now they're going to change it to renewable energy, and it's going to take like a year now. But they had to let go a lot of workers, right? So that made thousands of workers, 2,500 had to be laid off because they no longer need all these people with that, because fossil fuel, the new electric energy they're going to have from wind farms, they don't no longer need all these people, right? And this is one of the simple examples that I could give you.
No, the country to which you just referred.
UK.
Oh, but the UK, now you know and I know. The UK and the entire Baltic region and Europe in general are far ahead of everybody else.
Well, China as well, yeah.
Renewable energy, right? The
Yeah.
world's going to have to catch up to them. But I'm just saying, we as a world community, we can't agree on nothing, and fossil fuel is one of those issues that I think going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, they got 15 more years, my brother. Trust me on that.
Yeah.
15. Ain't no more longer than that. Because by then, if they have fossil fuel, because all the cars are EVs, because all the power plants are wind farm and solar, ain't nobody can need fossil fuel.
But my brother, I don't want you to go nowhere right up and now. You need to stay around so that when you sit down on the porch with our fight, I'm going to be telling you, I told you so.
Well, once you have the deck of cards, you'll be getting beat up in some 11 points. As you know, I always put it on you. So, hey, happy birthday again, my brother, and thank you for calling as usual. You're a big contributor. We agree to disagree on something. Next week, I can come back with some stuff straight off the internet, straight off the Maritime feeds, so that you can actually see some of this stuff I'm talking about. I have it now, but may have time to go through it. But thank you so much for calling, and as always, take care of yourself. Thank you. Yes, that's my best friend, Mr. Herbert Brain. Always call him with his viewpoint, and then this time we didn't agree. Usually we agree, boy, but it's be good when we disagree. So we're flat out of time, people. My good producer, again, has allowed me to go over by a minute or two. So let me just say hello again to Annie Mae. Let me call off my sponsors. Bahamas Maritime Connection. We also have our one-on-one pharmacy in Nassau, located on East Street South and Charles Sanders Highway. And we got the one in Freeport. It ain't one-on-one pharmacy. With that one name? Island Care Pharmacy. And that's on, I think, Pioneers Way, just opposite the Regent Center. I might be wrong with Pioneers Way. Lord, I don't remember the Freeport Road so good. And we're thirdly sponsored by GBI Pilots and Bimini Pilots. They can bring in all the ships you need them to bring anywhere you need the service done. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank my good producer, Mr. Craig Gibson, and I thank all of the callers. We only had but 2 or 3 tonight, but guess what? They were solid. Thank you, the listening audience, for taking time out to continue to listen and to send me those lovely notes after the show. And with that, as always, I say to you, Maritime Matters, out.
Watching the ships